Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. Happy Monday. So what we're going to start this week off reviewing is what is called MAFS.8.F.2.5, which is all about describing functional relationships. So describing and interpreting graphs. So let's go ahead and get started. You'll notice that this week we do not have any live classes. However, just like last week, you will have two standards checkpoints. Oops, this should say 5. You will have two standards checkpoints in USA Test Prep. The first one will be based off of Monday through Wednesday videos. The second one will be based off of Thursday and Friday videos. So let's go ahead and get started. It says the graph models the volume of fuel in a jet's tank as it flies over the Atlantic Ocean. Use the graph to describe the relationship between the volume of fuel in the jet's tank over time. Go ahead and take a moment. What do you notice about this graph? So hopefully you notice that over time, this fuel is decreasing, which is typically how planes and cars work. That the longer you drive, the less gas you have. So what I want you to think about is, well, if this continued, what would it mean when it hit this x-axis? So go ahead and pause for a moment and think about that. Well, it would mean that at this point we are out of gas. And hopefully, typically you don't let yourself or your parents, hopefully they don't get all the way out of gas. Hopefully maybe somewhere around here or here they refuel, and then this graph starts recycling. All right, so this is what we're doing today. We're just looking at basic graphs and interpreting them. So let's go ahead and look at the next one. Madison is studying the growth of bacteria in food and learned it has 4 phases. Label the axes and show a graph of the 4 stages, assuming the initial bacteria count is 50. So assuming the original is 50. So what we need to look at is the lag phase. Bacteria introduced to the food causing biochemical activity but no growth. Okay. So what happens is we're starting at a count of 50. This first phase here, so these would be our phases. This would be our growth. So from phase 0 to 1, we'll call that our lag phase, there was no growth. From phase 1 to phase 2 in this log phase, there was an exponential growth. At this stationary phase, so our lag phase, we have this exponential phase. Our stationary phase says growth stops for 1 hour as nutrients are used up and waste accumulates. So that slope would be looking something right along the lines of this, where that growth is not exponential, but that slope is about 1. Then that last phase that we're looking at says the death phase, that all the bacteria gradually dies off in the final hour. So that graph is going to start coming back down as all of that bacteria dies. All right, so like I said, this standard, what we're looking at, is really just about interpreting these graphs. So the last question that we're going to look at today is this graph here. It shows y as a function of x. For each interval in the table, indicate whether the function is increasing, decreasing, or neither increasing or decreasing over the interval. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a moment, check out this graph, and try to interpret what these different intervals mean. I'm going to show you the first one, and then I want you to look at the second one. So how you interpret this? It's the interval we're looking at is from -7 to -3. So -7 to -3. So if you find that part of the graph, what is that graph doing between those two intervals? Well, it is increasing. So I want you guys to take a look at that for these last few intervals, and then we'll show the rest of our work. Okay, so let me use a few different colors here. The next interval is from -3 to -1. So if we take a look at that graph over that interval, again, you'll notice that that graph is increasing. If something is increasing, it is going up from left to right. So it is going up from left to right. Okay. Our next interval from -1 all the way over to +1, that is decreasing, right? Decreasing because it's going down from left to right, just like when we interpret slopes. From 1 to 3, we are increasing again. From 3 to 5, see how many colors we can use here. From 3 to 5, look at this. Now we're going back down. So we're decreasing. And our last interval, our very, very last interval, right here from 5 to 7, there's actually no change. So how you know something has no change? If it is a horizontal line, there is no change in the slope. So that would mean that growth has stopped, maybe money's not coming in, something along the lines of those examples, but there would be no growth in that area. So please remember that each day after you watch these videos, you should be logging into USA Test Prep, okay, selecting 8th grade math, then finding the standard. Today's standard was F.2.5 and practicing, doing some questions. Maybe there's a few videos in there to help you refresh. All right, I will see you guys next week and look forward to tomorrow's video. Thank you.